Good morning. It is Saturday. What's today? The 20th of July. I got Miss April with me. Hey, Miss April. We wanted to come and have a talk. We at this beautiful place here, Cedar Hill. This is where we seen the monster one time, April, in the water. It was a whole video for real. Like, we seen a whole big old fish in there. He was golden, so I don't know.
Ducks over there too.
The beautiful ducks. They pretty big. But we wanted to come and talk about something. We saw a new law passed yesterday that was talking about eviction and how people would need to have a whole year paid up of rent to be able to appeal an eviction. We don't quite know what all that means, but what we want to talk about is how it was passed and no one had heard of it coming forth. And it's a lot of things that are not transparent like that in the housing realm, but just specifically talking about that is what we wanted to come and talk about today. So yeah,
it's huge, and I think it's going to affect a lot of people simply because when people are not aware that these laws are passed, they're going to be affected without even realizing it. And then once you hear about it or you're told, it's too late. So
yeah, usually that's when you're in the courtroom.
Right. And it seems like it should have been a more transparent process. Like the community should have known about it so that they could put their opinion in about it or, say something to advocate against it. But it's like already passed, so we couldn't really say anything.
I don't know what that means. I'm trying to get us some light and then make us know brighter. So I'm going to leave that alone. And you just have to we out in nature. The light is going to come on and off. So we enjoying this peace that's out here because we need it as advocates. People have no idea the behind the scenes that we really go through trying to advocate for legislation and making things non-harmful in this whole navigation of housing. It's so many intricate things that go into it, and our lived experience is something that's an asset, and it's an enhanced asset to what's going on and towards the solutions. Hearing something like that, like we said, we're like, wow, we had no idea this even was up for being passed as a law. So to hear about it is very surprising. To hear that it passed. I didn't even know they were in session. I thought session was out. So I'm even more confused on how it got passed.
Because we were even involved in the preparation for the day on the Hill. And I'm not saying that that wasn't discussed, but I don't recall that even being on the table for something that was.
Yeah, because specifically during that time, we're looking up the legislation. I remember saying how I didn't see anything for housing really besides what was being talked about really on a different level, because it's nothing really that was being introduced here. What they were talking about with the day on the Hill, I believe, was the Gloria versus Johnson, or I believe that was the thing. Johnson.
And the habitability, it was something related to that, maybe.
Yeah, and to that fact, during that time, I'm gonna tell you, the day on the Hill, I was supposed to go speak at that, right? And I could not go because during that time I was up at Skyview and someone had a mental break to the point where, like, I had to get there and try to get the crisis people there, which I never could get them there. So where I'm going with saying that is how there are resources available and we are not able to access them in the midst of a housing crisis itself. With the uninhabitability, with the evictions, with the prevention measures that we need to have in place to prevent homelessness, all that is a full circle thing that we need that we don't have access to. So we just have to talk about it. We're not here to hurt nobody, harm nobody. We are actually here to help and to bring healthy ways of housing about. That's our role as the real lived experience advocates out here in Nashville, Tennessee. We have really been trailblazing and doing the work invisibly and unpaid. There's no other way to say that. And we have to bring the things to the forefront and speak on them, or who will?
Right.
Who will speak on it if we don't? And just like my voice is right now, we get dubbed angry black woman a lot, when this is not that. You see where we at, out in nature trying to get some peace. That's what we about, peace over chill. But just very interesting that passed without the people hearing it before it went forth. Just trying to figure out how that is able to be grievanced, or what really happened, because there's more things that happen like that behind the scenes that we don't know anything about, and it goes forth, and then it's not inclusive with the real lived experience being a part, or those voices being missed. So we just continue on with the cycles that are perpetuated, that people fall through the cracks or it's missed.
Yeah. So. And I really, it's kind of disappointing, because with us being on the forefront of this housing work and being involved in a lot of the committees and things that are supposed to be preventing and addressing homelessness, the fact that nobody in that circle even mentioned this law being passed, it's like, does that not matter? I mean, but they let us know about the criminalizing the sleeping outside, but they didn't let us know about the laws been passed on evictions and the appeals. So I think we can't just address one part of housing, a housing crisis or homelessness. We got to address the part to prevent it, because the evictions are causing homelessness. And if you have to pay a whole year's worth of rent just to appeal, when maybe it could have just been you didn't have access to legal representation, who has a whole year's worth of rent to put up before they can appeal? And they know this.
Yeah.
So it's just something that people need to be aware of. And it's always been a law, but the part of the law that has changed or been taken away is that before, the judge had the ability or discretion to say you don't have to do a whole year's, but you can do this amount, or he could decide on a lesser amount for you. But the new law takes that option away,
as if we didn't already have the rights taken away.
Right.
It's supposed to be eviction right to counsel. I'm gonna turn this way so I can see if Miss Charzette, because she called me.
Yeah.
I don't see what she is, but
it's almost non-existent.
Yeah, our rights, and it should be eviction right to counsel. But personally, working with people as an advocate, we're not able to connect people to legal aid services. So therefore, and when we are, people get harmed to the point where literally we had a client that they made cry. How is that even a thing? And where do we grievance these things is always my question. On a lot of things, there are zero accountability measures. They get to measure their own progress, or
effectiveness.
Yeah, their own way of measuring. And how is that
right?
The people's input should be a factor, and not ignoring us, not creating ways to block what we're saying. Or I've seen a lot of performativeness where it seems like they're doing something, but then it's really not that. What's really going on at the on the ground, what we see daily. So it's just like, wow.
Yeah, people are applying for assistance, but they're being denied help. And if there's supposed to be a right to counsel, it shouldn't be you picking and choosing who you're going to help. It should be everybody's case is considered, and you should be attempting to do something to help prevent it. And that's where we've been getting a lot of our cases from, is the people that they have allowed to fall between the cracks. and they're still looking for help. You know, we're not attorneys, but we do try to give advice maybe, and to link them with agencies like Legal Aid by kind of like presenting their case in a different way. Because when you're going through an eviction, it's overwhelming and stressful, and a lot of times you don't really have the time to really articulate things the way that they need it to be understood. So that's where we try to kind of be that that bridge, but we're not always successful because sometimes we can't even get them to respond. So.
Exactly, and that's across many agencies. Sometimes people will think that, first of all, I want to say, like to April's point, the way people find us is only by word of mouth. We don't have a commercial out there or anything. And I say that a lot because people end up finding us, and we end up sometimes performing miracles that aren't even supposed to be that. Like, it shouldn't have to come to it, and they shouldn't try to kind of keep us out of the loop when we bring them a client, and we should be able to access all things to do with homelessness because of the work that we do. Not being accepted because we're lived experience or whatever the case is shouldn't be an option to keep us on the outside of, even down to the funding mechanisms, because we deserve to be paid for our work just as anyone else does as well. I feel like they'll be hopping mad if they didn't get paid and people played with their money. It shouldn't be a thing. We are going to have to speak out about it and be, until it's, like they say, until you can say it backwards, till it's right. I don't think there's anything wrong. You're just saying what's facts. And people's situations, you have to kind of say what's going on with things for them to even know what's going on, because they don't know what's going on the ground.
Right. And it's always going to be sugar-coated or made to appear to be something great. That term, eviction right to counsel, sounds good, but when in the eviction prevention program sounds good, but when the evictions are not being prevented and people are still becoming homeless, even though you have this program, maybe it's not working as well as they try to make it seem. And I still believe if that program was working as well as it should, we wouldn't have so many clients coming to us for assistance. So it's work that needs to be done, and we need to be compensated for the work that we do. But for right now, because the main organizations are portraying to do the work and taking credit for the things that we're actually doing as well. I'm not saying they're not doing anything, but we are too. And we got data to show that what we're doing.
But it's swept under the rug of what we are doing. And for some reason, and I heard this term when related to DEI, but they feel like we didn't earn it. It has been kind of the flip coin of the term, and I think that's absolutely not true. We have done the work. We are in the arenas. We're in the forefront. We are literally having to reach out to the different agencies. So being met with that resistance when we're trying to help fellow peers and humans is counterintuitive to the whole mission. But then we hear we are stronger together. We do believe that. And I want to say we have really, I think, done very well on calling out these issues and accountability without specifically naming names and throwing people under the bus, because we could have.
Legal Aid out. I mean, because Legal Aid, listen. They have been the lead agency that's supposed to provide representation for low-income people. But when you ask people about their experience with legal aid, it's not a secret that most people have not had good experiences. And, it seems to be that they would start considering using other agencies or organizations to help legal aid, because clearly you're not you're not satisfying the people.
Yeah.
And
And
the
we've
numbers of
literally
evictions are growing. Now, if they were doing what they needed to do,
they
then-
should be lowering.
Right.
Yep. We've literally experienced this, y'all. Anything that we say is factual. It is not made up. It's not fabricated. It is not added to. And we've dealt with that, with things being
Personally.
fabricated about us, and, just making it seem like that we're a bother, but we're really just simply speaking truth to what's really going on and how it can be a real solution and really work together with the lived experience. And we are here to help, not hinder. Unfortunately, we don't receive the same. We've seen some things, and we are praying that the things that seem to be going towards the right direction continue to go that way, and that all access is open up across the board for us to be able to help with this, because I can't even imagine what's about to happen with this new law. If what we're going through now is going on, Band-Aids don't work on festering wounds, period. We got some, like in one place, I feel like we are doing that surgery that we need to heal the wound. But at the same time, it needs to be everybody on board, and not any mechanisms of flipping it around and trying to still keep those control reins. And because like we said, it's no real way other to say it than it is literally chattel when you do not want to pay people for the hard work they are doing. There's no other way you could say it, but then you expect us to do it for free.
Yeah, and to go back to that law, the one thing I wanted to mention is that people have to start being proactive and not waiting until the last minute to address your possible eviction. I mean, if you know you're going to be late, or if you're going to need some help with something, it's better to try to get that assistance ahead of time. Yeah. Because now, once it gets into courts, you don't really have any wiggle room. And the thing
they trying to make sure of that.
Right.
Because we actually been making miracles happen out here with these different evictions and stuff, and they don't like that.
Right.
The fact that we've actually been doing it. Hello. Hello.
I just
Good, how are you?
Voice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I love your aura. Yes, ma'am. That was the people walk. We try to get out their way so they could walk by, but I feel like we said what we needed to say, wrapped up very beautifully. We stopped so y'all could see us.
But I did want to add this part back to what you can do. I think that people need to, again, be proactive about it, and then also educate yourself about what you could do prevention-wise. And that's what we're here to do, is to help give people knowledge and education. We don't provide legal representation, but we can provide materials and
public
different
education
methods that we've seen other people use that were going through the same thing and that have been successful. Yeah. So definitely reach out to Kenitha or contact us some type of way, and we can try to help the situation, because we got to prevent these evictions and homelessness instead of trying to house people after the fact. Let's keep them housed.
Yeah, and I know it makes you feel a type of way when you hear all the different barriers that come in, and we're sitting here trying to prevent barriers. Like Miss April said, the quicker you get to us is the better. When it's an emergency, it's hard to even try to plug into the resources we already don't have. So she's Community Bridges Incorporated. I'm Innovative Job Solutions LLC. We're both in the Consumer Advisory Board as leaders for the homeless through the continuum of care. So
that's another way you can reach us. Come to the meetings.
Yeah, those are every you have to look online to see which one of the days is picked, but every third or fourth Wednesday of the month, each month. We got another one coming up on the 31st at the contributor. I can't even talk. At the vendor newspaper. But come participate, be a part, and be a part of the healthy establishment of housing. We gonna steer away from the harmful part. We just want to see things healthy for all people. So much love. I don't got nothing else to say, but
Peace and love.
holla at y'all.